Three already. The National Kart Cup comes to Cumbria. And did I mention that this is the very first place that I ever raced a car?
You haven't mentioned the live stream yet, but you have mentioned it to everyone who listens.
Well, I'm going to mention it quite a lot because I love this place. Welcome to Rowrah, everybody. My name's Joe Bradley, alongside me, Nick Damon. Nick, welcome to Cumbria. This has got to be your first visit to Rowrah.
It is my first visit to Rowrah. I think it's only my second time I've ever come this far up the M6. It's nosebleed territory.
It is a beautiful part of the world, and we are already getting on with round 3 because out on track, just being released from the collecting area, is the first of our races. We've got heats this morning, and then after lunch we'll be heading off into the finals. Right now, though, it's senior Rotax out on the track. And just to remind everybody, if you're new to the NKC, it's mixed grids. And what does that mean? Well, every competitor gets 3 heats, and then we go into the finals. And each of those heats, we start one of the heats from the front of the grid, one of the heats from the middle, and one of the heats from the back. That's what we call mixed grids. And it really does mix things up. For instance, current championship leader Lewis Jones is starting 17th on the grid, on this senior Rotax grid. Let's have a quick look at the grid, Nick, if you would, because we're going to get straight on with it. On the pole position is Tom Radburn. Dylan Tatum is alongside. The first of the Masters runners, Paul Ozan, who's currently third in the championship. Paul, who I know from back in the 80s and 90s in karting. It's Martin Coe alongside Paul Ozan, Simon Key, Alex Warnaby, Thomas Storer, Pedro Oliveira. They're already round this relatively short Rowrah circuit. It's about a 50-second lap, just under 50 seconds actually, and we're about to go racing already. And they've been given the go-ahead into the chicane for the first time. It's very uphill. You can't see the apex, and already a kart spearing off to the right there. But the majority of the field, and indeed the leaders, Tom Radburn on the number 22, using all of the track on the exit of McRae's there, the first of the hairpin. And we've got a bit of an M25 hold up there. Everybody grinding to a halt the first time into McRae's. I think they've cleared off. But the leaders, that's allowed this leading pack to get well ahead, Nick.
Yeah, it's a classic kind of 24 carts kind of squeezing into a corner where you take them one at a time. It's after you, Claude, and people were trying to make up a bit of advantage early on. But we got a handout. It's a problem.
Right.
Has there been an incident down that corner? But it's a full start. I think it was a full start. Right.
Okay. Then that was a bit of a rehearsal. Then
that's good for all of us.
A bit of a rehearsal, just to give everybody an idea of what's happening. The Rowrah track, as I said, just under 50 seconds for these senior Rotax 125cc water-cooled motors on these karts. And they didn't hang about, did they? I hope everybody has kind of recovered from whatever that incident was at the hairpin. Now, we're getting the wave around. You see the drivers there just sort of signalling to the people around them that they are being given a wave around through that uphill chicane. Just give you an idea of the track there. We're on a bit of a burst. Rowrah's all about stopping the kart and getting the kart back going again. These very, very tight hairpins really calls for a very compromised setup here at the Cumbrian track, and it's all about getting out of those very tight hairpins. From that one, again, maximised, optimised straight line speed into the next, this time a right-hand hairpin, and then a very long back straight into a 180-degree corner that we call the Stewart S's, because you missed the first apex, missed the first curb, hit the second one there, and then the middle curb there, and then that really does sort things out before they then head back onto what I consider the old track and down towards the St. John's left-hander, which is a beautiful undulating sweep. When you plunge down that hill, it might not look anything, and it's certainly something in the mid-pack there, as we've got it coming together on the warm-up lap. They'll sort themselves out at the back. Through the left-hander at St. John's, it's very, very tight, that, just a little bit more than 90 degrees. And then towards the paddock, back towards the paddock, and all of their friends and family watching from up on the hillside, and into the final turn here at Rowrah, which is called Paddock Bend, and it's a deceptively fast right-hander that leads onto the curving start-finish straight. I think the starter's going to be happy with that. The starter wasn't happy, but they've gotten underway, and I'm not sure if we've given them the green light.
It seems red
to me.
The
red lights are on still, so they were a bit out of practice here, it seems, at getting these races underway. The pack have realised. So Tom Radburn on the 22, on the pole position, Dylan Tatum alongside. They've kind of thinking, what's going on behind us? Why are we not sorted out. Everybody is caught up, and we've got 2 lines of karts. 27 karts are starting this senior Rotax heat. 5 heats for senior Rotax, of which each competitor will compete in 3. And how you finish in the heats will designate where you end up on the grid for your final. We do have a pre-final, but more of that later. Like I say, we've got heats for all of our classes. Senior Rotax, Rotax 177, that's a senior class as well, just a little bit heavier. And then we go into our junior classes and then the TKM engine classes before the lunch break. And then we finalise the heats. The heats are 8 minutes and 1 lap. So 8 minutes duration, and the grid does look well formed. Hopefully the starter will give them the go-ahead. He does indeed. The red lights go out, and once again,
third time lucky.
Into the chicane for, I'm going to say the first time. I know it isn't, but you know what I mean. And then down the straight into McRae's. This is a great out-breaking point on the track, especially on lap 1. That's where you make your places up. But it looks like Tom Radburn has certainly gone off into the lead, and he's not being challenged. Everybody through McRae's for the first time. Everybody through the Iredale's hairpin as well, and then on to the Stewardesses. It's a tricky section of track this. You'll see karts coming to grief there. And then down the hill towards St John's, into Sunny Bend for the first time. And look at Tom Radburn's lead there as he goes into paddock for the first time. He'll come then out onto the start-finish straight to complete lap number 1. And it's Paul Ozan, the old hand, Paul Ozan. He sneaked through into second on that opening lap. Dylan Tatum now down to third. Simon Keeble through in fourth. Up 3 positions for Pedro Oliveira, up to fifth. As the field, again, incident-free. We had more incident on the warm-up laps there. Can you believe that? We started racing and everybody settled down. Bizarre.
They obviously decided to put their brains back in gear now.
Yes, took a little bit, didn't it? Now then, we have got a race developing at the front because Paul Ozan, former Super 1 champion, is got the bit between his teeth. He's not here to play. He's not here to play games, he was telling me. We all think about, karting is a bit of fun. It is, and it's a great social periphery. But here comes Paul Ozan. He knows Rowrah very well. But then again, so does Tom Radburn. Tom Radburn, a great job holding him off at the chicane there, down towards McRae's then for the second time, or indeed the third time, into and out of the hairpin. And down towards Iredale's. Still Ozan has to slot in behind Tom Radburn as they head down to the Stewardesses. This is where Paul Ozan will want to maximise his exit. Down the hill to St John's now, through that sweeping right-hander. It really is flat out. Just check the slide on the kart. Through the very tight Sunny Bend and out towards paddock again. So a great battle for the lead, and Paul Ozan did catch Tom Radburn very, very quickly. 0.2 of a second at the line there. Pedro Oliveira continues his progress, and he's up 2 more places up into third. Simon Keeble fourth. Down to fifth has gone Dylan Tatum. Martin Cope to 6th. 7th is Thomas Storer and Alex Wannabe. 8th. 9th is Scott Lowther. Harry Barker rounds off the top 10. That battle for the lead still ongoing. Now already at the Stewardesses, and Paul Ozan closes the gap again. He'll want to try and get onto the rear bumper of Radburn. Over the brow, down the hill. It is quite a steep decline there. Oh, and a little bit of a mistake there from Ozan. He poked his nose where it really didn't fit and hasn't really lost time there. As they come out of paddock then, it'll be 4 laps completed for these drivers. Absolutely nose to tail up and over the hill. You can't quite see the apex of the left hand of the chicane. Ozan has a little bit of a peak down the inside. Not quite enough though, not enough momentum to get down and inside on the brakes of Tom Radburn. Tom Radburn driving very well indeed. Now just keep an eye on Oliveira, who's in third place and will indeed be catching these 2 ahead. He's the fastest driver on the track at the moment. Fastest lap of the race so far, 47.382 for Pedro. And he is indeed catching Paul Ozan ahead of him. Into the braking area for the paddock right-hander. And then straight back on the throttle. And it's what was a 2-card battle for the lead, now developing into indeed a 3-card battle as Oliveira gets onto the tail of Ozan. Ozan is very soon going to be aware of the presence of Pedro Oliveira. That's going to make this job of getting past Tom Radburn a little bit more urgent. Has another look towards the inside, but just no. Tom Radburn absolutely last of the late breakers into these very, very tight hairpins, into the Stewart S's, which is a 180-degree turn. Clip the second of the apexes, then the middle bit. Use a bit of curb. Oh, and look at this through St. John's then and into Sunny. It's a very difficult place to pass, is Sunny. Bit of an opportunistic move there from Oliveira. Didn't pay off at paddock turn though. And now we're going to find that Ozan, who has been trying to find a way by Tom Radburn for the lead of this first heat for Senior Rotax, now has to fend off Pedro Oliveira. He's not happy with third, is he? These two just breaking away now. And there's the move. Down the inside at Iredale's has gone Ozan. And the switchback happens for Radburn, who comes straight back at him and retakes the lead. Ozan down the inside at the Stewart S's, though, and Oliveira's gone through. Radburn down to third. So change for the lead as Ozan has made that stake at the Stewart S's, taking with him Pedro Oliveira. They're already through St. John's, already through Sunny. Down towards the paddock, and Oliveira down the inside, but that's a wide line from Ozan. And Ozan side by side now with Oliveira. Oh, and they touch wheels going into the chicane. Oliveira sticks it out and puts the cart into the lead and ahead of Ozan. Down towards the McRae's hairpin. They have to behave themselves through that very, very tight 180-degree corner. And then into a right-hand hairpin this time is the Iredale's hairpin, out of that and down towards the Stewart S's once again. And it looks like Oliveira has pulled out a little bit of a cushion to perhaps stop Ozan challenging once again. They've pulled away from Tom Radburn. We knew that Radburn was a little bit of a cork in the bottle there with these two runners behind him. And now we begin to space the gaps out. Let's have a look at the top 10 as they come underneath us. 8 laps completed. We're inside of 90 seconds to the checkered flag. And it's Oliveira leading. Ozan is in second place. Tom Radburn third. Simon Keeble fourth. Scott Lowther moving up 2 spots there on lap 8. He's up to 5th. Alex Warnaby 6th. And then we've got Harry Barker now up to 7th. Martin Coe 8th. 9th is Dylan Tatum. And Jez Owen rounds off the top 10. So leaders into the final stages of their 9th lap. They will probably get another 2 laps of racing through paddock turn, and it's going to be very, very, it's 48 seconds on the clock. They're lapping in 47s, so they may get 2 more laps after this one. It was right on the cusp of the timing. We'll see what the start line official makes of that next time by. Checkered flag being readied. We've got a cart off at paddock turn. That's not going to cause the field too much problems as they're at the Stewart S's now. Here they come, bearing down towards us, down the hill and into the left-hander at Sunny. It's the last lap board this time by, or is it? It's absolutely seconds on the clock. There was 1 second, literally 1 second on the clock. The last lap board was being ready just in case, but Pedro Oliveira manages to get across the line just in time. I'm pretty sure he wished it was the last lap board and get this one in the bag. Paul Ozan second now by just under a second. They're 7/10 to be exact, and then it's 1.6 seconds. Behind them is Tom Radburn. Tom Radburn now in third. Scott Lowther, he's a further 3 seconds behind in fourth. Fifth is Alex Warnaby. Harry Barker 6th. And Simon Keeble dropping 3 places there on that lap. Martin Coe 8th. 9th is Dylan Tatum. Jez Owen still rounding off the top 10. But then up to 11th has gone Lewis Ball. He's going to be challenging for that top 10 finish. Last lap board. Oh, checkered flag. So it was just an admin issue there, not bringing out the last lap board right on the cusp of it. So understandably and sensibly, we've thrown the checkered flag. So the first heat, indeed the first race of the third round of the NKC goes to Pedro Oliveira. Paul Azan is second. Tom Radburn third. Scott Lowther fourth. Alex Wannabe a very fine fifth. Harry Barker sixth. And then down the order, seventh is Simon Keeble. Martin Coe is eighth. Ninth is Dylan Tatum. Jezzo in 10th. Lewis Ball 11th. Lewis